program, but they went out and they know where every one of their,
curb stops
are at.
So that's a plus.
Yeah.
Well, and Josh has some of these capabilities through his GIS stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna speak completely for him, but there's ways of harnessing that info once you have.
Right, I'm just saying,
it.
being out mobile though on an
Yeah.
iPad to be able to say, okay, I'm here or whatever, and like I said, I don't know if they use a GPS tracker, I don't know exactly if they have like the coordinates, or if they just, you know.
I wanna
so
say they
many
have
feet.
like a stick though, cause I thought like more interstates set them up with they would take their data collection device, iPad or whatever, and then they had it like a stick, and then they could like
And
literally
feed
put it
off.
right on it, and
Right, and I'm not 100% sure, I just know.
maybe they were just demoing. I seen them one day doing it, but maybe it was just a one day deal.
Yeah.
I just know that, I mean, with the capabilities of even GIS and stuff, I mean, there's ways we can store data inside some of the software where, if you have a device like this, even or through your phone, where you can at least get a 3-foot circle accuracy of where the heck the end of a culvert is,
Yeah,
that's gonna be a game changer down the road when you need it. I mean, that's,
I know we're not a Morton County, but just seeing what they do, we could be a little Emmons County and be efficient like they are. It's unreal what they got going.
Yeah, they really
To
do.
feed from, you know,
Yeah,
as a mentor, they got a lot going, boy.
Yeah, there's some definite stuff that they have going that we could implement that would make things a little better.
Simpler,
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
so,
Anything else, guys? Go ahead.
well, I mean, what do we feel on these trackers? I know it would be nice to have that option, but I mean, we wanna do it either way.
so you're looking at roughly $350 a month?
Yep.
After, well, the first 3 months are cheaper, I see that.
Yep,
But just going down the road, once it's all, because you're gonna add maybe a unit or two, you're looking at $350 a month.
right.
Roughly.
Yep,
Roughly.
Roughly.
So, yeah, I mean, you're,
And then this feeds back to a computer, and he can go onto a computer sitting anywhere in his truck or in his office and find out exactly which.
Yeah.
And you can see, it's really cool, cause it pings like every 8 to 10 seconds. So you can tell when they're blading, you can see they're going 4 miles an hour.
Yeah.
They showed us where one of their gravel trucks in Morgan County was speeding, I mean, it actually shows that. Not that, and not that.
I'd wait till after you got the trackers to tell the guys that.
Well, not that they used it for
I
that
know,
reason, it's crazy.
you know what, it's the times that we're in though, let's face it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a fan of tracking, I'm not.
No,
I'm kind of a doomsday prepper type, I don't want anybody following me neither, but for the transparency of government and trying to, honestly, in my opinion, truthfully, and I know this always sounds like a cop-out for this stuff, I think it's more of a defense than an accusation. I think in a lot of ways, it's gonna prove that we're doing as much or more than what we're getting accused of doing, cause I've thought over the years, it's been unfair. Like, the guys aren't perfect, and there's things they might be missing, but it's not like they're doing nothing while they're missing for a project, they're just overdoing something else. I think validating that through something like this, I truthfully, most if not all of our guys shouldn't really have an issue with this, cause I don't think they're really doing anything wrong, so I don't think it should really.
And we visited with them, I went out there, yeah, Dan and I went out there and Russ, and we visited with the guys and just, I mean, just threw it out there just to see if we got thrown out or if we got stuff thrown at us, and we basically told them that this is, if we find out Russ is abusing it, then we take him out.
Yeah.
This is to cover you guys. You know, we've had instances in the past that these would have been extremely valuable to have. That would have been cut and dry, yes or no.
Even going to the documentation of the paper was a huge, when we had guys actually writing down almost their daily log, that was even a huge upgrade, because there were times when we could look back and they would state that they were on several roads that day, and obviously you can't track everything perfectly, but at least they're telling you they're on it. If their superintendent is supervising it, then at least when people call in, you're like, hey, you know, yeah, it was 6 weeks ago, but it wasn't 3 months ago, it was a month and a half, but you know, and there was some accountability and some validity to that, and I think this probably just goes a step further, but if you can mold it and start creating other data resources from it, then I think that takes the edge off. We're not just tracking our employees.
Right.
We're tracking efficiency, we're trying to create efficiency.
Yeah, and I've got that question in, but
Yeah, and
my question is, do we want to do anything with it now, or?
I mean, in my opinion, let's just call it $400 a month for easy computation, you're looking at less than 5,000 a year. I find it hard to believe you can't find $5,000 in the road department budget for something that, right, I don't think it's really even a budgetary question really, so it's just a matter of, if the commissioners even wanna move forward with it, then know, I guess I don't,
Speaking good, you wanna make a motion to
I will make the motion that we,
bring on 17 or 18?
I would say I would make the motion that we accept the, Verizon Connect, vehicle trackers. Let's do, up to 18 of them, cause I know there's one or two questions on some other,
And
you don't
not
have to do
interrupt the
18,
motion,
but.
there is the option, like I said, they do have PTO sensors and they do have front-facing cameras that you can add on to this too, if down the road.
You wanna do it?
Down the road, I told him we didn't, Russ but the PTO trackers are kinda nice, they can tell exactly kinda what else is going on with your equipment, if the blade's down, if the blade's up.
Sure.
We didn't feel like,
I guess I would make my motion for option 2 to just get up to 18 vehicle trackers.
I would second.
Is there a
that.
second?
I would.
Miller's a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. So who's gonna get it going? You wanna call?
Russ and I'll work with Russ and I'll get him this contact and,
Okay.
Just for the record too, the one that Craig had checked out of North Carolina and stuff, the prices were very comparable. There was a few things they were a little higher on, a few things a little less on, it basically was a wash back and forth, so. I mean, the only benefit here that we really seen between me and James was that they had a 24/7 support, and I think they're probably closer to us, if I can say that safely, I don't know where they're based out of, but.
And would you say that other subdivisions in our area are using it too?
Yes,
Like Morton and so these,
Morton's using
just even
yes.
for the ability to.
to talk.
bounce stuff
When you
off
go and
both
you go
sides.
to a meeting and you find out they're doing something with it and you're like, wow, I didn't know we could do that, and you
Right.
start, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how you always progress, you go to these meetings, you find out information, but I'd say using products similar to your neighbors is generally beneficial.
and like this program too, with this recent snowstorm we had, at the end of the day, instead of me talking to all these guys and stuff like that, they wanna go home, they wanna do whatever, I'd be able to punch on here, it would've showed me where every guy, cause they don't have every guy's
What they
route
got
in there.
done.
So it showed me what they got done, what's left and stuff like that, so if I wanted to bounce one guy from here to there,
That's,
it was just a lot easier, you know, through this deal than.
That's efficiency.
Well, you
Yeah.
can't manage what you don't measure, that's always, I mean, that's, if you don't measure it, you can't manage it, so I think at some level, I mean, yeah, it goes against my personal morals to track people, but I also, I can see the balance, hey, as long as we're not putting a chip in their hand or their head, I'm fine, as long as you guys ask that, we're gonna fight. I've read enough of the Bible to know I ain't into that, but if you wanna put something on their dash, I suppose I'll live with it.
Tracker's a tough name for it.
Tracker, tracker is kind of a bad name. Personal location device,
Yeah.
maybe it's a
There
little
you
less,
go.
yeah, Craig don't like that one either. Okay,
is there anything else you wanna discuss, Russ?
I don't have anything, no.
Nothing? Anybody else?
The road maintenance.
Yeah, we got this road maintenance.
with Campbell County,
Oh, that's, okay.
Or Campbell Township, yeah, sorry.
Did, Bob from Game and Fish get that contract to you for that other boat dock, did he,
for Langley's,
that's all done then?
yep, we have Langley's.
Yep.
And Sam was gonna clean the restrooms there.
And then
He's gonna, I talked to Sam, I told him to do 2 separate bills, and then I'll send it to Game and Fish, and they're gonna reimburse us.
okay, so that's all a done deal then? Okay, all we have to do is the boat dock, right? Okay,
I sent you that maintenance agreement yesterday, emailed it.
yep,
Might not.
You guys will just have to discuss today what you wanna
What's
charge. Is it
Might not
350
have to
okay
do
for the
anything this
grading,
year.
the 200
Water's
for the
pretty
snow?
low out there.
Campbell Township, is that out
Yeah,
here?
this is the northeast corner of the county up by
Oh.
Kintyre. and-
Okay, yeah, we were all thinking.
So, yeah,
probably
this
down
is
here
Gar's
somewhere.
neighbor, yeah, you used to think of Campbell County,
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is Campbell Township and yeah.
This isn't new, this is something that.
This
No.
is we do every year.
This every year you renew, right?
So
So
I-
Campbell Township is organized, but we do most of their maintenance. They do some light graveling and they have some neighbors that pitch in with payloaders and they'll do some stuff, but
Okay,
Gar does a majority of their snow removal, blading, grading, and we do spread some gravel if they request it, and then we have agreed upon rates for stuff when they do.
So he keeps track of this stuff,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's,
and then we bill them.
yep,
okay,
Okay.
So what you guys have to do is just decide if you wanna keep the road grading at 300 a mile, and the snow removal at $200 per hour.
$3.50.
As stated on here, on the contract,
I
you
see
ready to
that.
put the
Yeah, is that
numbers in?
enough, or?
Yeah.
are those fees high enough? From what you see, Russ?
On a normal year, yes, I think that's sufficient.
Is it?
I think it is, I mean,
Good.
Well,
I don't think it occupies a ton of Gar's time, like a separate, you know.
It's not a big.
It's more so Campbell is just the last stronghold of an organized county or township that likes to keep a little bit of independence, but they pretty much rely on us for just about everything, so we have one organized township, but it's loosely organized, I mean, they don't have any equipment.
how many miles of road do they have?
They'd have a whole township, so it'd be 6 miles by 6 miles, or I mean, if you're winging it, 10 miles of road, I mean,
I
that's.
can't even begin to answer that.
I don't know.
Can't imagine there's more than just a couple roads on the outskirts and one or two
I
in the
got
middle.
26 in my mind, I have to do the
How
report.
many?
Yeah, that's maybe even more than I figured, I figured 10 to
That's
15.
big, a township is big.
Well, a township is, 6 by, so it's 36 square miles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is it 36?
36.
But
Yeah.
roadway, yeah, you're.
Right, that's what I mean, there's very few roads that go all the way through, and then,
That's good, those are good roads up in that area, isn't it? They've been
depends who you ask, I would imagine.
I think they're very good, huh?
They are if you don't live there.
Yeah.
Listen, if you ask the southern part of the county, they're pristine, if you ask them guys up there, they wish they had roads like the south, yeah, nobody would say, yeah, so.
That's the way it is.
It's not a bad area, I mean, there's decent roads up there.
Yeah.
The big main one, which actually isn't a township road though, is that road going north of Kintyre, that's that federal road that goes,
That curve.
that's the curvy one that goes up to Steel, that one got, rebuilt there, I mean, so. The thing is Gar's up in that neighborhood maintaining roads no matter what, cause we are obligated to maintain that road, so. A few other outlying roads probably aren't.
So yeah, you're pretty close to what you said, 10 miles.
Ish, yeah.
I'll make a motion to enter into
To
the
accept
road
the
maintenance
agreement?
agreement.
There's a motion by
I'll
Mr.
second.
Gardner, second by Magrum, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Did anybody do that ILG training a couple weeks ago, that,
Oh, we got
Oh,
yeah, on the meeting?
Yeah.
It was really good, if you guys, haven't done any ILG training, I did it on my phone, threw in a set of earbuds and sat in my pickup, I was in Wishick working, and,
I got the transcript if anybody wants.
yeah,
Oh,
you should check that one out, Dan,
Yeah.
that,
what's it called?
I'll run a meeting.
yeah, you were.
Oh,
doing
yeah,
recording?
I got a 2
It's
hour.
got a lot of good information on it.
I need some Russian course, big time.
No, it's just really good information.
Yeah.
There was one part that talked about, roll call vote on anything that really kinda matters.
Right.
We do not do that, and
And you should.
it basically talked about, you're approving the minutes and the agenda are fine with all voting, but the stuff that's a little more serious, we should be doing roll call votes on. And the other thing they talked about was, adding agenda items is a real pain in the butt for that gal right there.
Well, I don't really think it's I mean,
And that's
not
just
a
what they
big-
talked about, and I didn't think it was really that bad, cause you'd never said like, well, do we really need to add that, because it's gonna be a pain for me.
The only thing that I don't like is when we add agendas during the meeting is for the public's perspective, because I put the agenda out on Facebook, it's on the website. Then all of a sudden we add something today that we're discussing, but people don't know about it. It might be something that they'd wanna come. And then all of a sudden they listen to the video or they see in my minutes that, well, wait a minute, I didn't see that on the agenda.
I would just recommend if you didn't go to it, like, you were gonna get a recording and Jim, it was really good training. And then like, there was another,
Roll of county commissioners.
roll of county commissioners coming
Yeah,
up
I-
on the 20,
It's in March.
or the 11th or something, it's in March.
I registered for that.
6 county meetings. I got the video.
Well, it's in March.
You have to?
But you can get a recording of it.
Yeah.
It's real easy to sit through on a computer or even on your phone. They don't, you type in your questions, they don't get you on there, you don't even,
Yeah.
never even saw faces on the one I was on. And it was Aaron Burst, put it on, but I highly recommend those courses. If you haven't taken them, that last one was really good information, where I was like, oh, we don't do that, and, oh, we don't really do that.
And
We
if
should
you're
be doing
not
a
a,
roll
Should be
call
doing a roll
vote
call.
on the more
On these
important
serious
stuff.
motions.
Yeah.
And
Did you
Ken-
do
Ken
before?
wanted to-
Well, yeah, we did roll call, I usually,
Yeah, you did on
I
some.
kinda read the room, and if it seemed like it was debate 50-50, it's like, well, we should probably just do a roll call, and that's usually, if you look back, I called roll calls on ones where it's like, alright, we talked about that for 20 minutes, there's 2 or 3 people don't like this, let's roll call it.
Yeah.
But some of these, like, yeah, when you're discussing maybe a road, it seems like, I just kinda read the table, it's probably not perfect, but,
It sounded like anything that kind of involved money, you should roll call, that's what they said.
you'd be better off to do a roll call than not do it.
Yeah.
It's just that, you know, it just depends on what it is, I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
I read the room on things like now, like if we would've been voting on spending $25,000 on that pipeline today, I would've roll called that one, just because that's something that you should be on the record, plain as day, if you're for or against it, because you're gonna get questions, now.
You go through it, Materi, and bring up your own thoughts on it, but
Mhm.
that training is really good, these ILG courses I was impressed, I was
Yeah.
very impressed.
If you can't take one, you can request a recorded one from Alicia.
Yep.
Send her email, I'm not gonna be around the day, could have the recording one,
Okay.
and she'll send you the recorded version where you just have to click on it, and she has a deadline, I think she gives you 2 or 3 weeks.
I think it's
to
2
take.
weeks.
Is it 2 weeks?
I think so. But you can call again and get it updated and get it back, sent back to you again.
Oh,
I
okay.
think so, yeah.
They build accounting for it though every time you get it.
No, these are, a lot of them ILGs.
Well, the couple that I did when I first started being chairman, they were charging like $30 a deal.
So they quit doing that.
Well, how many of these hours?
Because people
they do it,
they
they
count?
Some of them, if it's something, like Bismarck College, American College is doing, they'll charge, but they'll say on there if it's free or not.
Okay.
I just remember
You
going
need
through
so
the
many
bills one time, we had-
Distance learning hour, how many do you need, or what's the deal with that?
You can go
These
on there and
count
look
for
at their, ILG program, and it'll tell you as a new official how many you need. But then, they won't ever say you can't become a commissioner.
Right, no, but I just wanted to tell you guys, I highly recommend it, that was a really good course, I'm sure the
one in
roller
March is
commissioner
good.
is gonna be a really good course, they do a really good job, I was impressed. I suppose I should grab a box of bills from you?
Yep.
Am I good to go?
Annual.
No, you gotta stay till
You
we're.
gotta
We have
sign
a
that.
bill.
Not got 20.
We're stuck here, so,
That's
all
what
good.
they,
All
you
good.
gotta sign it.
no, I think you're good.
Thanks, Ross.
Okay, we'll
Make
see
sure
you
to
guys.
tell them guys that we were real happy with the snow removal and that, I've heard very good things.
Okay, sounds good, and then we'll talk about,
Yeah, I'll get
Okay,
a hold of
deals.
you after the meeting, I'll either come out there or call you, or
sounds
we'll get a
good.
hold of Jesse and
What's the date today?
we gotta put it in the right name and, cause he just did the quote under me, but somebody had started a quote
What's the
a
date?
while back
Today's
and there
the
was some
4th.
confusion, so.
Okay.
We'll get it all
Sounds
taken care
good.
of.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
Russ.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, we got it.
These are.
Yeah, I don't really see anything on it. Let's see here. Look weird.
Did everybody read this from Kevin?
No, I can't understand it, can you
I
read it
can't
to
read
me?
it. So,
The code.
And then here's the minutes, and you can sign.
Culvert. Make sure that I'm
Yeah, you do it. Do you want?
all set. What?
Yeah.
First service, that must have something to do with
You come in first.
Yeah, and then
that.
here. So make sure we
Oh,
discuss
okay,
this,
well,
and I'm
sure.
gonna put something in there.
Okay.
This one. It is much for with the boat rack in here.
Yeah, so Sam takes care of the Rice Lake,
Oh,
when he goes and does language usually and stuff, then he
yeah, he
does
pulls the one
the
there.
garbage and checks the toilet paper and all that.
Oh, good.
Does he?
Yep,
Yeah, I figured that.
You need to sign that too, Dan?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Sam does the maintenance on that. Fish built it and they do like boat dock maintenance and stuff like that, but they don't maintain the toilets and stuff, so.
Oh, yeah, here's,
What you're signing there, Dan, is we have to pay so much of our cost share for the state to do bridge inspections. And they just want, you're signing saying we're not gonna use federal funding to pay that cost share.
Okay.
Which we're not.
There's a birthday there, Dan.
Yeah.
oh,
That's what the commotion's all about.
parties got down the road.
Little Lisa Turner.
Oh.
This back here.
I do. And I think the building permits are down here by Aaron, those I'll need back too.
Those are like this, all.
Alright, so what?
You don't sign it, did you? Sign it, I'll just.
I'm not even the vice chair, I don't even have the authority, thank God.
Just wanted me to make sure.
Yeah,
You
good.
want some discussion at the lunch meeting?
Yeah, your arm will be
Oh,
tired.
yeah,
That we're done if you read,
I like the ink gel pen that
it
flows
says
on
that
it.
Aaron just,
Did you?
Yeah.
Float easy.
but I told him I wouldn't.
Just
put it on
zip
the
right through them.
Yeah, that does make a difference.
Oh, it does, it makes a huge difference, like these type things here, I start writing with them for a while, boy, that hand gets tired, there's a reason they came up with them ink gel.
He's got an attorney, he said.
Budget's
Maybe
looking
one.
like,
Well, and his attorney should get a hold of our attorney, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't, you can't read what this says, it makes
Oh,
0 sense.
yeah.
This one here.
He is
Alright,
tired.
well,
You're
I
way
know,
off there.
you know, I printed off.
You're way stuck in that. That's pretty good.
And then the second page in future.
So he had to
And then there's
pay,
that building permit for Rick Weigel. And then the
that
two
bill is put on his
abatements.
taxes then. That was,
so
well,
we do have, you'll see on this budget that you gave us, there's 400,000 in the gravel fund now?
The legacy,
Yeah, the legacy fund,
I always got that in, I did that last month.
okay.
No, ready?
yeah,
Here. And then, oh, this one don't have it. No, not on there. Shoot.
So you have to go through that.
It's a disabled bed, so it's okay, Dan, I can,
Do what?
it's a disabled bed, I mean,
Should I
you
just
want,
stop?
just sign it back here and I'll type something out there. Thanks. I gotta sit to that training this week and one before.
You what?
I gotta have training today for one before.
You do.
oh,
I was,
you won't get much time off.
I actually was kinda thinking,
Oh, here it is.
maybe that whole irrigation project, we should have maybe done a special meeting and had people come in, cause I agree with you 100%, I have a lot of trouble.
Coughing up 25.
Coughing up $25,000 with no support in Emmons County, and
Oh, yeah.
here's this, I'm gonna just say this whole ethanol plant idea, the only people that are gonna benefit from an ethanol plant are somebody that has a railroad running through there, because an
Yeah.
ethanol plant is not gonna haul all their stuff by
Oh,
tankers.
It's either gonna have to
So that's gonna be Napoleon,
yeah,
and I doubt they're willing to build at Kintyre or Braddock where the rail runs through, so.
and that's getting kinda,
And not that it wouldn't happen, but I had to agree with the gal right here. The people that are gonna benefit from this irrigation are gonna be guys with 60,000 acres, not people with 2,500 acres. So you're not gonna get 50 or 100 more kids in the school. because of irrigation,
There's nobody left.
because the people that can afford to do the irrigation are farming 50,000 acres or 25,000 acres.
It's another CO2 pipeline.
Well, like, if we see half a dozen guys even that support it, I mean,
Or you
still is half a dozen.
He's gonna get signatures, but are they all gonna step up and support it financially?
well, that's what I was thinking. You know, they could
Well,
set an amount where they each put in.
Just sign it.
you know, Aaron and I have talked about this a little bit, and it's, the 25,000 doesn't really
No.
chat me. It's the 50 million that has to be,
Yeah.
the 25% or 20% of this $200 million project that somebody's gonna have to fess up with in Emmons County, and I don't think Logan has that kind of money floating around either.
No,
Well, the difficulty I have is just like I said before, the two county residents that I know of that just right off the top of my head that irrigated when I called them, they're just like, I mean, for lack of a better term, without speaking for them, irrigation is just a necessary evil for them. It's not like it's this, oh man, that's a huge opportunity, I'm missing. It's more like, I mean, we'll do it on some of this ground if we have to.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's easy to get into, it's difficult to maintain.
Right.
I was told by one of the guys, you either have to spend a pile of money or a pile of time. You don't, it's not like a set it and forget it, you walk away, then you come back and
Yeah.
combine up
It's
your
not a lawn,
200 bushel
it's not a lawn tractor that goes along here.
I mean, and even look at like your Cavendish, the potato guys, they have an army of guys that maintain their
Yep.
irrigators. I mean, it takes manpower,
Yep.
it takes work, it
And they're
takes,
still
when the work goes down, it takes big money,
And
you
they're
know.
always still having trouble with them all the time. either.
Exactly,
Yep.
I mean, I remember when Durant Schurmeister was, you know, doing all the irrigating he was doing, and it's like, you babysat. I mean, it was, you go away for a day, and that's when your diesel engine on your pump quit, cause you didn't wanna pay 100,000 to run power down
Yep.
to it. Now your
Yep.
irrigator's been out for 4 days on that 100-degree day, and you thought it was working while you were gone, and your neighbor said he'd check it, and he didn't have time, you know, it's just tough, it's
Yeah.
not easy, you know.
And I told Eric when he called me, I said, you're gonna have more trouble getting that pipeline across Emmons County, cause I said they've been burned, and I said they don't like pipelines, and
I just know that on this, it just seems, from the people that should be telling me this is a huge deal, they're not.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I have a majority.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, when I went 2 for 2 on a Friday afternoon, I'm calling guys and then by kind of both going, I don't really care if it goes in, well, would you sign up for it? I don't really know, I need to know more details. I'm like, well, that wasn't really a positive answer, that was more of like a,
yeah,
I don't know, cause, and then the guys that are irrigating, they're set up already.
yeah.
Do they really wanna pay to connect to this thing?
Right.
And the thing is if you don't have this pipe coming up right in like the corner of your land, is it like rural water where they got it close, but now you gotta tie in and now you're spending an
Right,
extra
right.
10, 20, 30,000 just to get it into your yard, and then
lot-
now you're in the, you know,
A
you're.
lot of unknowns.
And so that's that was where like the farther you go down that small rabbit hole, it's like, I don't see where it benefits Emmons County, not Emmons County, but this government, like why are we investing in it? When
Right.
it should be several stakeholders that are like, oh man, $3,000 to get in on this deal, like, let's go down the rabbit hole, and if they had that kind of support, like, I mean, are we gonna deny a permit when you have that kind of support? More than likely not, but.
Is there a
you're gonna
higher
have to get
taxation?
some-
No,
Your tax of the
Just
soil that's there regardless.
That's history.
Yeah.
Okay,
The only
so
thing that could happen if yields go up, the average then NDS would not increase value, but it's valued on the soil that's there regardless.
that's straight
The
other
other
thing.
thing I didn't like is I need this
See, somebody said,
$25,000,
what if you
so I can
generate
put it
more
with our
revenue?
25,000,
Well,
show
that
it
would
for
change,
the state, and I can meet and wine and dine all these farmers.
Can you imagine
What
what
he
it would do
said,
to
so I
the
can have meetings
campus?
to feed these guys, and I'm thinking to myself, off $200,000?
It just, to be fair, it's just right now it seemed to have some holes in it, and that was I know it's gonna come off as anti-project or maybe being kinda mean about it, but the several people that I talked to, and I told them, I said, am I gonna offend you if in the meeting I would say, well, why don't the landowners come up with this last 25,000 to be like a buy-in? Every one of them was like, that's a drop in the bucket if you're serious about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
$2,000-3,000 to get in on the ground floor. If you're serious about irrigating, both these guys said, they're like, $2,000-3,000,
Yeah.
that's a handful of nozzles
When
for
it's
their.
250,000 a pivot?
Right, and that's where I think, to be fair, if you're irrigating, you're an irrigator. Like, I mean, you're either in or you're out. It's
Yeah.
not like, well, I dabble with it on a quarter or two. I think you're either, you're either serious about it, you're gonna expand it as much as you can,
Yep.
or you're trying to avoid it.
Yep.
There's no, it's not like a part of your some of these guys might have rented some ground with some pivots and they're trying to make it work, but even then, I think if they had any other avenue that didn't work, they probably wouldn't run them, and I think it's
I'm
just
involved with
tough.
somebody that they lived it.
Yeah,
She said, if you want time off, you don't have time.
It's worse than milking.
They control you.
the other guy that was telling me about sticking either a ton of money or a ton of time, said he compares it to calving season. There's just 4 to 6 weeks out of the year when he's irrigating where it's like, you just don't leave,
Yeah.
you're checking them 2 or 3 times a day, you're fixing some leak or something, or.
It's in the mud,
And
and
it
they
still
don't
doesn't,
move.
it still doesn't prevent hail or wind
No.
damage or,
No,
there's still a lot of just like.
Oh,
It's not a
absolutely.
guarantee that if
No.
you're sprinkling water on the ground, you're just gonna get 200 bushel corn.
Yeah.
There's about a 200 bushel corn on dry land today, with the genetics that are in place today.
Well, and I think
It's
where the,
changed
I
so
think where
much.
the money's at when it comes to irrigation is potatoes. Not
Yeah,
so much.
right, I don't think you're just rotational row crops and stuff, right,
No.
you're gonna have to diversify a little bit, and that's the part I don't disagree with.
Yeah.
You could open yourself to some serious avenues with a pipeline like this, it's entirely possible, but there should just be 20 people in this room telling us we're nuts,
You know, he
not being part of
mentioned,
this.
he
I-
mentioned
There's 2
Oaks.
pivots that are going in this spring.
Well, you know what Oaks does with their irrigating.
Oh, Daryl's he's gonna been through it, but he's gonna.
They have an onion plant.
Yeah. It's gonna be onions.
Yeah, they have an onion plant
That's
there.
one of them.
Onions.
Sure.
Huh?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it stinks.
And old irrigation boys.
A lot of it's, so the onion plant's right beside the railroad depot in
You
Oaks.
gotta have specialty
And they,
crops.
4-star egg, I think
Onions
they're called,
or
whatever,
whatever.
they're onions.
Because it is
It stinks like onions, there's onions laying all over all the time.
Well, and I think some of these guys, that are irrigating too, they're renting or purchasing land that guys developed for irrigation.
Yeah.
And when you did it in the 60s or 70s, and they probably dug their own, had a neighbor with a backhoe, and they got by on the cheap, and it's
Yeah.
probably duct tape and tarp straps, and yeah, they're making it work. But if you told them like, oh yeah, some state law would mandate you have to quit irrigating or upgrade your system, they'd probably quit irrigating.
But a lot
And
of-
that's the vibe I got from
Yeah,
them when I
That's the
talked
vibe
to
I
them.
got for everybody.
Like I said to Craig here and Marlis, like in Oaks, they diversified though with this irrigation, they do a lot of onions. But they also have an onion plant there that processes all this stuff,
Oh,
four-star
really?
egg, and they've got a Kelly Bean who cleans beans and ships them, they bag them and ship them
Special.
overseas, cause they have a rail that runs through
And they're-
there. There's a lot of things that
And
go
that's,
with.
that would kind of defend the argument a little, his point is if you do something like that, where somebody goes, oh, wow, they really are making a move towards irrigation, and, then, yeah, and that's where you gotta weigh the idea of
Yeah.
investment, that's for me,
Yeah,
as a government entity, I'm going, that's speculation.
right.
Government investing in speculation is just not the way, I'm not trying to insult anybody,
Well,
but
and
you
this-
go after the 5, 10, 20 possible beneficiaries, and you get them to pay for this, and then you partner with the county going, we have 10, 20, 30 people and
Right.
1,500 acres lined up that we're gonna irrigate, this could be a big deal, and we're going, okay, now when it comes time for permitting, we have an understanding of something, we weigh that differently than just a speculative project that may or may not benefit our county, and that's, the other thing, especially over the Oaks area and stuff that people don't talk about with irrigating, is most guys that are irrigating are partnering it with tiling.
Yeah.
There's a ton
yeah,
of tile ground, once you
absolutely.
start getting
Yep.
east of even Wishick,
Yep,
they're starting to tile big time in Lamore County,
Oh, yeah.
Dickey.
yep,
So now, if you're not tiling, are you gonna irrigate? Well, if you're irrigating and tiling, that's a pretty big expenditure. And
absolutely.
our land values are going, no doubt, but do we have the soils to justify that
Right.
along with the other investment? And I'm not gonna say we do or don't, but it's hard to just go in and be like, you know what, we're full steam ahead on this project, cause it really could be great, and it's like, again.
Well, and you look at Oaks, like I said, they have 4-star egg, they have Kelly Bean, they have Columbia grain, they have, their other grain, they have 2 huge elevators, they got a rail that runs right through there. And who ties into that rail? CP ties into that rail, it's owned by, it's DMVW rail, they lease it, but they can load a BN train and they can load a CP train at either of the 2 elevators. Kelly Bean, they drop cars off to DMVW, they load box cars, they do refrigerator cars full of onions, the railroad is
It's a
huge.
benefit.
And Oaks is a weird place, because they have all that ag there, and they have no ag dealership there. They have nothing there.
No, equipment,
Yeah,
yeah.
the closest one, I believe, is in Foreman, green iron, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they don't even have a John Deere or nothing. It's great, they have one used car dealership like a Fifley's here, that can't sell brand new cars there. Oaks is a weird beast, but they have a ton of activity over there, that's, a lot of it is ag based, but like I said, they have a railroad, two of them actually that come, the BN and the DMVW CP line they cross. Right in the middle of town or on the southern
I
part of
agree
town.
that it's got a ton of potential, and that's the reason why if it has as much potential as that, it should be very easily sold on some stakeholders.
Yep.
That's just my final stand.
And I'd be fine with it if the stakeholders showed up and said, we're in.
Right, to tell you the truth, we're looking for that kind of guidance, if you want us, if we're supposed to invest, then there
Sign
needs
on
to
the
be
back
backing
usually,
from the
right?
taxpayers, or they need to just come up with it themselves.
Oh, shit.
I mean, I don't
That's okay,
think
we
the
got
opposition is gonna come from the county here, if you got, like Jim said, you got 10, 20 guys coming in here going, we came up with the money, we're moving forward, I don't think we're gonna be like, no! Absolutely, it's gonna be just more like, I don't wanna be the only stakeholder from Emmons County just because we're the guys with the checkbook that no one cares if we cut a check. It's just not, and if you even wanna wrap it further, we're always discussing property tax, right? And so now you're going, that 25,000 does benefit farmers in the county, but that's also money from the folks in town, that don't necessarily, you know, and it could benefit that, right, if this project is what it is and it creates other businesses, you're right, it'll benefit Napoleon and Lytton and Hazelton, wherever, but the government in almost a lot of ways should be the last buy-in, almost not the first, because why the heck are we speculating and investing in something that if it falls on its face, it's like, man,
Why were you
we gave money into that deal because 3 guys maybe wanted it in the county and then didn't.
Exactly.
And then after it got built, or, you know, or whatever, it went this far, then they didn't even sign on the dotted line, cause the next one was 100,000, and they're like, it's.
The example, the
Just
deal
like-
up by Hazelton, north of Senex, was that county involved in that? Where those cement footers?
Oh, no, that was city.
No, that was city of Hazelton,
Strictly
though.
city, okay.
That was the city, and then that was the Hazelton Lions, and that, pretty much broke the Hazelton Lions, and it set the Hazelton city back about 20 years. That was some serious money, though, I mean, that was over $100,000 for
Yeah,
them.
back then, that was a lot of
Oh,
money.
it was, at the time, 'cause that was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's where you do have to be careful, and again, I like to pick on the wind farm in the general sense that it hasn't probably hurt a lot, but it was sold to us, like, if you're not supporting this, you know, you might as well kiss Lytton and Hazelton goodbye, and it's like, well, it did come in, and I'm not gonna say it hurt anything, but it just didn't seem like it really helped anything either, so that sales pitch has been used enough to go, making it sound like this is the project that's gonna revitalize the area, may be true, but there's a good chance it's not true.
Yeah, it
either,
won't
so.
hurt the area, but I don't know,
No,
like I said, I don't know if you're gonna get 50 kids in each school and.
I mean, unless the program afterwards is a huge maintenance and employment scenario, then let's, you know, that's a different conversation, but we all know how these projects work, right? You boom for 2 years, you know, I mean, Lytton or Hazelton or wherever's the closest area will be a top 20 sales tax town in the state, because that's where the products will be delivered at, and you're gonna be hammered on those, whatever, but after that 2 years, unless there's 30 employees to maintain this pipeline and all that, you're not gonna see a significant change to
I see
it.
what Wishick is facing right now to the west of town. That new wind farm project.
Yeah,
And I sat at lunch yesterday, this is what are your feelings on? I don't know, what's it really, how's it gonna affect Wishick, the noise? I said, you'll hear it at night if it's calm, and the wind is right, you'll hear, whoa, whoa. Well, you said, oh yeah, you're gonna deal with red lights, everything.
it's just that once these projects are built, it's almost all automated stuff from distant
Yeah, there
lands.
ain't very many.
You know what I mean, it's not like, I mean, even just to pick on the DAPL a little, as highly technical as that project is, it isn't like there's 4 and 5 employees living in Lytton with, you know, that, it's all ran from Texas and everywhere else, and it is what it is, but don't sell it as this huge jobs thing, cause it's only jobs for,
You know what,
24 months.
you know what I think a lot of counties think when they see these is, it's money coming to the county, it's property taxes,
Yeah.
it's money that we're not, I mean, cause every county is, I mean, I shouldn't say every, but a lot of counties are getting smaller.
Yep,
You know, it's the same amount of land, people from out of state are buying, if a farmer doesn't buy it. And, I think these, you know, like Wishick and McIntosh County, I think they kinda went, we gotta take this. You know, we watched one go in Emmons and Logan, and Campbell County's got one, we gotta take this money. Yeah, that's where I think a lot of these counties are at.
It gets to be you're picking winners and losers.
Yeah,
That's
just
the
give
one
me
about by
show
the
your
river.
room.
That's
Yeah, we
too
can.
steep.
Media
There's
adjourned.
a gate.
I move we adjourn.